one of my pet peeves is that I cannot stand how the patients that have sickle cell disease are treated. You know, they're called frequent flyer, they're called drug abusers, they're called so many inappropriate names. And sometimes some patient really needs some form of medication to get them over.
Sometimes people consider sickle cell a black disease and not a human disease. And so it's very important for us to not only talk about how people think about the suffering process of just managing the pain, but all of the psychosocial stressors that are connected to it. So inadequate mental health care referrals, the lack of specific sickle cell centers, the fact that when people living with sickle cell may enter into healthcare settings, they're thought of as drug seekers and not necessarily people who are trying to heal.
The stigma of sickle cell is very well established. There's the basic stigma of being a racially related disease, which is probably less in the United States than actually in some other countries. The major stigma in this country is that the majority of physicians and nurses somehow presume that sickle cell patients are seeking drugs for euphoria, for getting high or some other reason. They don't understand the basic biochemistry of opioid drugs in the brain and in the liver. Once you've been getting high-dose opiates from childhood up, the body becomes partially dependent, more or less, on these opiates.
I dealt with females in the past, and I told them I had sickle cell, and they experienced me in the hospital. The next minute, I get the little note saying, "Oh, I think it's not going to work," such and such. Or their parents is not knowledgeable about sickle cell, and they say, "Oh, I don't think you can. You're supposed to get married to a man that could help you, take care of you. You're not going. You know, I don't recommend you dating a man or marry a man that you have to take care of your life." So a lot of people, they have a sickle cell, they get like demotivated.
I'm married to a wonderful lady. We've been married, I think, 8 years. It's been a wonderful marriage, but she's also a very good partner. She's partnered with me with my, not only with my arts, but also with my health situation. I think she's become a knowledgeable advocate for me. She even sends me newsletters from her email that she gets. She's very active. She's even very active with my healthcare professionals. She knows the lingo, the jargon. She knows the vocabulary. Even in her iPhone, she even has my lab numbers. She's one who also is never shy about accompanying me to the doctor, and she always asks me questions about how I'm doing.
Never embarrassed to tell people that I have sickle cell, because it's things that they need to know, because later in life they need to know that, because if their children have it, they will know what to do.
I used to be embarrassed about talking about sickle cell because everybody was young, so nobody really knew about it. Nobody really cared, but now that I grew up, everybody understands it and they research it and find out what it's about.
My husband was really extremely protective. Didn't want me to do this, didn't want me. But I can understand that was all good because he didn't understand much about it either. So we both had to learn about it. And when I had my daughter, when I got pregnant, I almost died because of all the complications that I had. But I made it through. Didn't want to have a second child, even though she kept asking for a sister. But I knew what the difficulties were, and I really didn't choose to go back through those difficulties. But after having her, we just lived like any other family. And it was just a matter of controlling my illness, and I had to take responsibility for that. They couldn't do that. I knew that if I got upset at things, I got angry at anything, I would always end up in the hospital. So, seeing that I was the one that was feeling the pain, I chose to make the decision, like, I am not going to let anybody put me in the hospital. So I don't care who it was or what it was. I just dealt with it in a certain way that preserved my health, because that became the most important thing.
But I think that it's necessary to take care of myself day to day, eat healthy, stay hydrated, key things that help in dealing with sickle cell.
Most people are interested in alleviating pain. And if I can break down the understanding that pain is just connected to sickle cell and the actual condition, and I can help individuals to understand that pain can be exacerbated by stress, exacerbated by depression, exacerbated by anxiety, then people tend to be able to come a little bit closer to the idea of pursuing mental health treatment.
Some use music as therapy. Others use poetry. Both Dr. Clark and Daryl Allardyce take an artistic approach on how to deal with the sickle cell blues.
Music can actually create a mood. And, you know, a lot of people use that in movie production, where if they create a scene, they want it to be dramatic, they use dramatic music. So music has an effect on your emotions. But as far as what I do it more as a way to educate people. So rap is, I guess, the language of hip-hop, which is a culture, and it's an effective way to reach young people who gravitate towards hip-hop.
Listen for a moment as Dr. Clark speaks. On sickle cell, strictly for my people. Bring truth to the youth, reach each when I teach. Don't sleep, I'm about to get deep. I like to mention sickle cell prevention. Pay attention, here come the lesson. Lesson 1, good hydration. That means every day you ought to drink water. Lesson 2, be careful of stress. Never overdo it, get plenty of rest. Lesson 3, take it from me. Your regular checkup, see your MD. Lesson 4, coming straight from the doc. Avoid when the temperature's too cold or hot. Lesson 5, something you should take. Notice folic acid, also folate. Lesson 6, all girls, all guys. Always remember lesson 1 through 5. Understand the plan, refrain from the pain. You gotta get your health on, you know what I'm saying. Yo, you know you could feel good if you're well. So why mess around with sickle cell? You know you could feel good if you're well. So why mess around with sickle cell? You know you could feel good if you're well. So why mess around with sickle cell? You know you could feel good if you're well.
I'm going to read, it comes out of my last episode. I had renal failure, and the poem I'm going to read, which is not in my new collection yet, is called Memory of Skin. My wife's memory of skin peels back as she becomes a witness to my journey through various chambers of sickle cells. Hemoglobin descended 3 grams in one day, receiving 2 units of blood in 2 days, total bedside exchange while watching my Sports Center news, the launching of March Madness, mass no-look pass, pimping of college athletes. My wife eyeballing the well-groomed lab tech, attaching the miniature Fresenius, drawing liters of blood from my body, then going back again. Toxins and extra potassium exiting, dragging the dirty sickle cells along in its wake. Unmeasured exhales and inhales with the nebulizer. There are no early tolls going to New Jersey. My wife reads the New York Times with an imperfect fold. Life has exchangeable chapters, a continuous playing of Miles' Sweet Pea. Blood, it's all circular. I was a C+ student in science through middle school, remembering only Mrs. Turner's lab coat catching fire when Tyrone Davis bumped into her with his test tube of liquid acid in 7th grade. The only year I escaped pneumonia at Cumberland Hospital and the penicillin injections into my butt, a nickname of cornflake eyes, looking out at the world through an oxygen tent covering my bed. In this hospital bed, personal history is public as doctors make their rounds throughout the day, with their eager newbies asking classic textbook questions. Never if I prefer Pablo Neruda over Sundiata, over Gaines, over Toni Morrison, or what key is Craig Harris's Sophia in. It's easier having no secrets now. I group text and send Bearden note cards to all my friends and family about drift glass, measured breaths, and my wife's memory of skin.